Ha! You expected the Toyota 8-6 for this video, but it was me, Saleen S7-UH. The Viper was so goddamn American that after making a video about it, I can still feel freedom coursing through my blood, and that desire must be quenched. I was originally going to save this video for the 4th of July, but I'll do the Mustang instead for that day because today we'll be talking about the Saleen freaking S7. Debuting in 2000, the S7 was an American mid-engine production supercar, often praised to be America's first mid-engine supercar, even though there was also a GT40 and once upon a time another American supercar company in the 90s called Vector, hashtag never forget. Go watch my supercar database videos on Vector after this video and try not to cry. Anyways, dubious titles aside, the Saleen S7 was no joke, and I can see why people praise it as one of America's greatest supercars. Saleen originally started as a tuner for Ford Mustangs and Ford Fustangs in Southern California. Also get used to me saying Ford Fustang, I'll be saying that a lot in my Mustang video. Anyways, the S7 really came out of nowhere, which only added to its amazing praises. A great business practice is to always underpromise and overperform. A lot of modern supercar nowadays are seen as disappointing because of all the hype and expectations that people have for them, as well as that's built up by the company's reputation. But the S7 was the last thing that people expected from a Mustang tuning company. So when it hit the showroom floor, it was followed with massive recognition. Weighing only 2,756 pounds or 1,250 kilo whatchamacallits, cause don't forget, I'll still be speaking American only for this video cause American, and having a 40-60 weight distribution, the S7 was born ready for the track and could corner amazingly. Although who really cares about cornering? As Americans, we only care about straight line speed. Although, I guess that's not entirely true since we do care about cornering, but only if it involves turning left for several hours. Anyways, the first S7 features a naturally aspirated 7-liter V8, making 550 brake horsepower and 525 pound-feet of torque. This engine is mated to a 6-speed manual that powers everyone's favorite best-wheel drive, aka rear-wheel drive, for all the naysayers who are unaware of what best-wheel drive is. Oversteering for life, baby! Best-wheel drive squad, where ya at? Thanks to this amazing power to weight ratio, the S7 does 0 to 60 in just 3.4 seconds. What a way to start the millennia, and with such great momentum like that, why not keep it going? Because in the land of the free, ain't no reason to stop flying free, so fly it did. The madmen at Saleen decided that 550 horsepower wasn't enough because limits were meant to be broken. And in 2005, they smacked on not one, but 2 turbos on the S7, now boosting power output to 750 horsepower and 750 pound-feet of torque. Still being best wheel drive and a 6-speed manual, except now the S7 did 0 to 60 in just 2.9 seconds. However, all this speed did come with a sacrifice. Despite Saleen saying this car had a luxurious interior, a lot of critics complained that interior was lacking, because to them, American leather is somehow magically worse than leather made in any other country. So I guess here in America we should start getting our cows checked by dermatologists before we butcher them. Anyways, the critics went on to say the S7's interior in general was very cramped, much like a race car. Oh wow, I almost wonder what car the S7 took a lot of inspiration from. Oh, you know, probably race cars. Like damn, y'all are missing the point. Luxury, this ain't no fancy schmancy Ferrari made for some clickbaiter to flex on YouTube. The S7 was the true-to-heart American supercar that was heavily inspired by the simplicity of muscle cars. As my favorite childhood game RuneScape once said, simplicity is the best weapon, and simplicity at its finest was the very embodiment of the S7. The S7 knew what type of car it wanted to be, and it dropped any aspect that wasn't working to its identity. And one hell of an identity this car had, especially when compared to its competition. The S7 achieved a top speed of 248 miles an hour, rivaling hypercars at the time, such as the Koenigsegg CCX and the Bugatti Veyron. It did this with less horsepower and a heck of a lot less weight, while still looking insanely beautiful in its own right. Honestly, the design of the S7 is perhaps one of the most underappreciated designs in American automotive history, actually just in automotive history in general. While the back isn't anything astounding, the front and side profiles of this car were gorgeous. Having a very race car inspired look, the front and side profiles of this car were menacing at certain angles, and even graceful as well. With this beautiful combination of insane speed, curvaceous sexiness, and exotic exclusivity, the Saleen S7 was widely acknowledged as America's first hypercar by many car enthusiasts around the world, finally acknowledging that America has done something right since the GT40 several decades ago. Once again, forgetting Vector, but again, no one remembers Vector. You know, maybe the reason people forgot Vector existed is because they made most of their cars in the 90s, and we all know that stupid saying that everyone says, that only 90s kids remember what happened in the 90s. Anyways, back to the S7, the designation of hypercar is not officially recognized by whoever decides what is considered a hypercar. Seriously, how do we recognize that? That's a video for its own. Anyways, I don't really care if it's officially one or not, it's still an insane car. Adding to all the insanity, the S7 also had a few other oddities to it. Like that despite being a mid-engine car, it still has a trunk in the front but also one in the back. I guess that the long rear isn't just for the massive engine. Honestly though, I think it's weird that Saleen even bothered to make an effort for rear trunk storage, since most mid-engine supercars usually just say screw it. The Saleen S7 was also made entirely out of carbon fiber, very ahead of its time, especially for a car at its price point back then, and if 750 horsepower wasn't insane enough, the car could be optioned to have over 1,000. Saleen would go on to create a S7R as the racing version to compete in most Grand Tour series such as American Le Mans. This S7R was no slouch and quickly won race after race, even up until 2010 before finally retiring due to lack of funds. For a while, not much was heard from Saleen as they simply returned to being a Mustang tuner. Despite the S7's massive success from a performance standpoint, cars like the S7 just aren't a sustainable practice to keep a business afloat. And Saleen's main focus was that they needed to make a name, and that's why they released this car, and I don't have a doubt in my heart that Steve Saleen could do this all over again if he had the funds. And I don't even think Steve Saleen has a doubt in his heart because he recently announced the Saleen S1. This time, he decided to tone things back and make something that was easier to produce with a larger market, but still exclusive enough to feel special. So he decided to make a supercar instead. The S1 in the long run will probably be a more sustainable project than what the S7 was, but I do hope that if the S1 has massive sales success, that Saleen ventures outwards to make something as outrageous as the S7 once again. But this video isn't about the S1, so I'll be ending it here because I'll save that story for another time for when or if it happens. Time brings a lot of change, as it appears Saleen won't be able to stand in the spotlight all by themselves anymore, because America has another tuner gone superstar that has joined the revolution, and his name is John Hennessy. Hey guys, Blade Angel here, and thanks for watching, and make sure to suggest the car for the next video. Honestly, at this rate, my 8-6 video probably won't come out until Half-Life 3 does. Also, don't forget to check out my Supercar database videos on Vector. You know, it was a really good series. That was actually the series prior to this series. This is the successor to that series. Other than that, see y'all next time. Blade Angel out.